Manders. He actually is like obsessive about it. Actually, that's just been me sitting there like, all right. Nobody tuned in. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show. Let's go. A little Monday. Tonight. You guys must not be following the sunset times.
Oh my God.
What?
Talk to us. Teach us.
We're not far from our first 7 p.m. sunset. That's big time.
That is big time.
That's actually that's one of the best days of the entire year is when that happens because you know that you're over the hump. We're almost there, almost over the hump with the NBA regular season, getting ready to go into that all-star break, and also getting ready to go into the trade deadline. So today we're gonna do some hangover takes. We're gonna talk about which team. I don't think the Nuggets are that interested in the trade deadline. We'll talk about it, but I don't know if they are. But I think the teams around the Nuggets very interesting, and that is more interesting with regards to the Nuggets. So to help me out. From New Jersey, Brendan Vogt.
And still, the shortest man on the podcast. What's up, boys? How we doing?
Are you shorter than Dev?
Honestly, there's like 4 people in this company I'm roughly the same height as. Yeah. They don't get the same jokes at all.
They don't get it at all. And over here, from Fort Collins, Colorado, D-Line Co.
That's right, guys. I have no distinguishing features.
That's not true.
I talked to P-Watts people the other day. They asked me if I was called D-line because I'm built like a D-lineman. And then I said, no.
They said that?
And then I said, no, I'm built more like a sumo wrestler. And they all laughed at me.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I mean, I wanted them to laugh, but they laughed a little more than I hoped that they would.
What if that was the answer?
It was more like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Kind of laughed in a
right, like, get out of here. It was like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
What if they called you that because you were a 5-star high school lineman?
Yeah,
that would actually be really cool.
Well, the greatest thing is every now and again I'll get tagged in something like a kid actually attempting to contact a D-line coach. I'll be like, I'll be like, hey,
no way.
I'll be like, hey, D-line coach, check out my technique, and I'll be like,
pretty good,
dude. You should play the bit. You got to quote tweet it.
What if there are some kids out there who just think you're like the top D-line coach?
Yeah,
well, dude,
you should give
just
really
the
weird advice.
United States defensive line.
Get your hips more.
I'm like, use more wrist,
dude. You could probably get a kid recruited to Colorado State.
For sure.
I mean, you're just the D line.
And then over there, from Boulder, Colorado, Harrison Wind.
I'm gonna have to bring that up to P-Watt tomorrow. I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
Do we have the graphic ready, Kale? This is tomorrow, guys. The news is out. Word on the street. Peyton Watson will be in this very chair right here tomorrow. He's joining us. Should be a great time. Been in the works for a little bit, and we're excited to have him in. Man, most interesting Nugget this year. Really is. I think most interesting Nugget. So I can't wait to kind of get to know him because I feel like we still don't really know P-Watt.
I mean, I do.
Other than you being his
know
best
him
friend,
a little bit,
his favorite sumo wrestler.
Yeah, not just built like a sumo wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Sumo wrestler proxy.
But I mean, just as a fan base, I'm excited to kind of get to know him a little bit, hear the perspective on the season. So I think that'll be a banger. That is tomorrow, 3:15. You're not going to want to miss it. There it is. And look at that beautiful photo.
You took that?
Yeah, who's that?
RG.
RG did. There you go. He did a good job.
Peyton should bring the basketball on the show.
That is his basketball.
He should just bring it.
Does he go everywhere with a basketball?
I don't know. I asked him specifically to bring one, but I think...
I hope he brings one tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the game from yesterday. The Nuggets go 2 for 2 against the Portland Trailblazers. I know you guys discussed it yesterday, but we always do the hangover. Look at us there. There we are. The hangover takes. Now that you had a night to digest it, vote. Is there anything, do you feel differently about anything about this game?
I wouldn't say that I feel differently so much because I failed to say it on the show. Aaron Gordon looks really good physically, doesn't he?
I'm interested that you said that because I saw today some people talking about a concern. In fact, it was on Nate Duncan's podcast. They were talking about Aaron Gordon. Is he having a concerning year? And I remember thinking that must be a statistical take.
And I think that's all about the shot profile. Like I think his touch, particularly his mid-ranger, has gone to hell this year. But physically right now to me, since he's returned from the dog bite, is that a coincidence? Yes. He looks really springy. And I don't know. To me, some of these dunks right now are like, oh, that's AG feeling healthy, feeling fresh. And heading into an all-star break, that's something I'm excited about. I like the way he's played lately. Even if, the way Gordon's good games can sometimes just look like 18 points, 5 rebounds. But if you're watching, physically he looks like himself. And then that just brings a different dynamic to Denver. He's their physical guy, their jump out of the gym guy. So
he has 99 dunks. He's 24% of his shots are dunks. That's the second highest of his career. So it's not as high as last year. We're at 26% were. He's down to 24.2, but it is higher than any of the previous seasons. So, and I feel like, to your point, there was a handful of them last game. I do feel like it's ramping up. So maybe
Well,
that
it's
is the
not
time.
just the dunks, it's the windmill dunks.
That's true.
Right.
Oh man, the one he had yesterday, one hand pump and go back up. That was an insane dunk.
The pick and roll one that he tomahawked when he just dunked on 2 people.
Yeah,
that might have
one
been
was
2
sick,
games
too.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't windmill last season. Like, you don't see guys just windmill during a game that often. And he's had 2 in the last couple of games.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that? Because you're right. A windmill, that happens on a leak out.
Yeah.
Jokic had a leak out yesterday. Or not a leak out. He got the steal and then went coast to coast for the dunk.
Yeah,
I was
pick-sixed it.
The pick-sixed it. Have we seen Jokic get a pick-six? When was the last time we saw that? I don't recall.
I don't know.
Honestly, think
Pick-six.
about it. Do you
Super Bowl
remember
50?
Jokic picking a
Not-
pocket and going coast to coast for a dunk? I
Not
don't remember
necessarily.
it.
My
It
favorite part
happened
is
last game.
he almost lost the dribble and barely made the dunk. I'm like, this guy's the best.
Yeah, it was like a wind sock dunk.
Do you think he can windmill?
No.
Do you remember we went to?
Well, those are jokes, though. He's not really trying when he does the
no,
fake.
but that's the joke. Is that's as close as he can get.
He can't windmill.
You don't think he can
Windmilling is
windmill?
hard, man.
He also has very long arms. That was a long
Yeah.
windmill.
Windmilling is really tough.
Yeah, take it from us.
Speaking from experience.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Wind? Got a hangover take?
I mean, we talked
Feels
about
like
my
no.
2 favorite Jokic plays last night. The pump fake of the century.
Yeah.
That was so hilarious. God, that was
Dude,
so
DeAndre,
funny.
And if you
was
actually-
that a better pump fake or a worse defense? 'Cause
That's what I'm-
DeAndre,
that's my
his
point.
was a good pump fake, but DeAndre Ayton, I don't know, he like freezes to look. It was like comical how bad he was.
yeah. I'm
it
sure-
was like he was doing that on purpose.
Kind of was.
I'm sure you didn't watch the show, but we equated it to when you pull a magic trick on a pet.
Yeah. When you like
Totally.
put a blanket up
Yeah.
with the dog and they think you're gone.
Yeah. Oh, they freak out. He did just freeze in place for a second, like, where?
Do you think Yoke's ever like, man, what happened to this guy?
Yeah.
You know?
So it was that play, but I put this on Twitter this morning. If you go back and look, the play before, or 2 possessions before, Jokic hits a mid-range jumper on DeAndre Ayton. And if you
know the
watch
play.
it, he goes jab step, shot, and he drains the jumper. And then he comes back down the floor 2 possessions later, gets Ayton in the same spot, jab step, shot fake,
There you go.
goes right by him.
Little setup.
So little setup there from Joker.
I like that detail a lot.
And then my other favorite play when he wasted like 10 seconds in the fourth quarter. Just hilarious, staring down the ref as she counted to 4.
It was, dude, Yoke has a little bit
That
of like.
was unbelievable.
Did you find that to be a little bit, oh, right here, he goes, he hands it to her, walks over, and then he looks at her, just count them out for me. There's 2.
And this 4 count
3.
took like 6 seconds.
Oh, it totally was the slowest. Do you feel like Yoke is in any way being kind of a jerk right there?
Absolutely.
A jerk?
Is he like showing her up a little bit?
No, I think he's just like, I don't think he's being petulant. I think he's just like, it's more so.
It's the rule book.
Yeah, I think it's more like he's looking at her to make sure that he doesn't violate, but it's way more disrespectful to the Trailblazers.
Is there a level of gamesmanship where you're testing the basketball gods? Like, I
No.
don't want to say like that's not like disrespectful, but is it close to disrespectful?
He just has a weird. Really, what it is I honestly think it's because he's foreign that he's so much more expressive. If you ever go abroad where you don't speak the language, you'll notice how much more you use hand gestures and stuff to communicate. Gesticulations. And I feel like it's that. So when he looks at her, there's almost a level of like, it's exaggerated. It's not just like okay, hey, count it out for me so I know. There's like, it's like a vaudeville act. It's
Yeah. My favorites, though, are when he, like, accidentally kicks the ball into the stands.
Oh, it's the favorite. It's my favorite.
Oh, I bobbled the ball.
And he walks over there.
What do you know?
The guy with the greatest hands to ever walk the earth is like, I can't pick it up.
And he walks at a dev pace.
It's so slippery. Like, what's happening? I can't get it.
For me, and I gave my take yesterday on the show, but I'm going to kind of, I have two of them. The first one is, as I mentioned, that the playoff Nuggets really are dope. And I think it's important because Christian Brown, to me, is coming around. This is, I mentioned the other day, if he gets 3 games in a row, it'll be a trend. I think it's now 4 games in a row. It's not that they've all been good. It's that I feel like he's aiming at the right target now. It's back to defense. He seems to be extra cautious in his offense, meaning he's not trying to explore his game. It's like, all right, I'm going to try to attack, and if I have something, I'll go. But I won't force it. And then defensively making an impact, and you saw that in this game. And I think that Peyton and Christian Brown, the best story for me, this is the year of Peyton Watson, right? It's kind of the year of his emergence onto the team. I think that it would be really cool if they grow into a defensive duo. It's not to say that they can't have their own identities and, going forward, but I do think there's something cool to this two-headed monster off the bench. If you were talking about Denver's playoffs, it's like, yeah, but they got 2 dogs off the bench that they now have. Where last year they had Bruce Brown and then Jeff Green, whatever. But this year you've got 2 dogs that you can throw out there and create a defensive killer lineup. And I don't know if you can do that with DeAndre Jordan or Zeke Naji. In fact, I know you cannot do that with them. But when you throw Aaron Gordon out there with them, all of a sudden it really stands out that, oh, yeah, these guys are like, that's an incredible defensive pair, those 2. And then you add KCP and Aaron Gordon around them, and it's like, that's a phenomenal lineup. I think, to me, that's the story from last night. Yes, it was the Blazers, and they suck. But when they went to that lineup, it wasn't a little win. It was 20-2.
Yeah, that's the plan, right? That's what the idea is, that you have the bench, you have guys that are more focused on, generally speaking, that are more talented defensively than maybe offensively. Not that they can't score, but that's not necessarily their core competency. That you just focus on locking down and kicking the can down the road until the starters are able to come back in. Like, just keep it within reason. Score. If you don't score a lot, make sure that the other team doesn't score a lot. And that hasn't quite panned out for large portions of the season, but it does feel like it has turned a little bit of a corner here. Peyton Watson obviously has been getting more and more confident and making more and more plays and just being more and more of an irritant. And again, we were promised that Christian Brown was going to be an irritant, that he was going to come in, every other team was going to hate him. And he hasn't he's been pretty,
mild-mannered.
Pretty, they probably like him.
He's really nice.
They're like, oh,
nice young boy.
Yeah, they're like, that guy's pretty cool. I like
nice
that guy.
young man.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, ironically, Peyton has a little of this to him? Like, Peyton has a little F. He gets a block shot, he's going to give a little extra.
Nothing ironic about it at all. He's really, he is truly, if he ever was in a shell, which I don't think he was, he's like extra out of his shell. Like, he's coming out of his skin at this point. He's so expressive. He gets a block during a live ball, will be like, ah!
He'll walk too far. Like, you know how he ran and tried to save a ball the other day or tipped the ball and then ran an extra 30 feet. You know what I mean? Down the line.
Dude. Yeah, he pulled a Bo Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Just kept running to the tunnel
after attempting to get a steal. It was beautiful because it shows he's on full tilt, which is great because he's not playing out of control while giving his all. So it's a very good sign. That truly. In the official dog days right before the All-Star break, it is nice to see emergent storylines that are based on effort, which is not something you typically get this time of year, which bodes very well for the stretch.
Yeah, Christian Brown, like you said, kind of refocusing on, what he's good at is both a good and a disappointing thing, I think, for me when you look at it. Because I thought coming into the season, he would take an offensive jump. And he was clearly trying to over the first half of the season. It didn't happen. I think he got better in some areas offensively, but the offensive leap that I envisioned him taking, and I think that some people with the Nuggets envisioned him taking, it happened in some areas, but I don't think it fully happened to the level that I thought it would. And now he's refocused. He's kind of put a lot of that stuff out of his game, and he's back on the train that he was last year of just locking in on defense, being a role player, not trying to do too much. And it's a great thing for the Nuggets, but it is kind of just a reminder that, maybe he didn't take the step on offense that I thought he might.
I kind of disagree with this in one way. Not everybody has to be a creator or a facilitator or something else. And I've kind of never thought he was that, just because there wasn't like a real foundation. Whereas with Peyton, I think there is a foundation to that. With Christian, I didn't. But that's not necessarily a bad thing to me. Like, I think KCP has some of those chops in him, but he doesn't, on this team, he's just kind of thrown that part of his game away. And it's almost fine because it fits into this narrow box of what you need from him. I think Christian can be a great offensive player without any creation. He needs to learn to knock down the corner threes, the elbow threes, and he needs to finish at the rim. Like this year, he's actually shot the three ball pretty well, better than last year, but he hasn't finished at the rim very well. To me, that's where he can grow as a player. I think this year, maybe in your mind, you're thinking, does he add a little pick and roll game? I don't think you need that. Denver has their creators now and going forward. What you need are finishers, and I think he can be a much better finisher.
Yeah, I'm not talking about creation at all. Like, I don't think that's who he's going to be, but just straight line drives to the rim where he's finishing. Like, we didn't see a improvement in that this season. He's just looked as unsure of himself in that part of his game as he did last year to me.
One interesting thing, and then we got to go to break, but one interesting thing from this game, when Murray's on the court without Reggie, one of the values of having Reggie is he can bring the ball up the court so Murray can just get off ball until the half court, save your energy. It's hard to bring the ball up court, and teams that are smart go pressure Murray and just wear him down, make him zigzag up the court and use some energy. They've been doing. Last game they were allowing Peyton and Christian to handle the ball just so Murray could run up the court and then come get the ball at half court. And that's a thing where, again, it worked yesterday because that was Portland, and Portland was kind of punting on the game, trying to play their young guys. But in the playoffs, if you're counting on that and I'm the other team, I go, oh, Murray's the only ball handler on court. Pressure everyone up the court. Just make them use energy, because if it's Christian, if it's Peyton, you're going to maybe force a steal or force them to pass the ball. Yeah. And if it's Murray, you're just going to wear him down.
Dude, this is one thing that I have a bone to pick with NBA coaches. Why isn't there just one designated guy on every team who pressures the opposing point guard 94 feet the entire game? Why
just
not?
Wear him down.
Yeah. The Nuggets kind of had it with Shaq Harrison for a stretch of games years and years ago.
Facu as well.
Yeah. But what if you just had a designated 11th man?
Yeah.
Who
a DD,
whose entire job was just to
wear him down,
pressure Jamal Murray 94 feet.
Well, I will tell you that these parts of the game are so underappreciated because you're thinking X's and O's and this or that, and sometimes it's just take their legs out. Yeah. To your point. And Yoke had this yesterday, by the way. When Denver lost control in the third quarter and started, technical fouls and this or that, one of the things Yoke did, I tweeted it out, he started sprinting on Ayton because Ayton gets tired really quick.
Yeah.
And he ran him, and Ayton actually asked to come out of the game. He was so tired. And then he walked, he looked like the most tired man on earth walking to the bench. He goes out, there's about 2 minutes left to go, and that's when Denver went on an 11-0 run to close the quarter, and it was a sledgehammer. And that there really is something, too. When you wear guys out, they have to sub, they have to play less, and it's a real weapon. So anyway, I say that to say that Christian Braun, when I think about his offense, can he be good enough to dribble the ball up the court under pressure? Not even to create something, but just to allow Murray to not do that. Yep. I think it's skills like that you look at. But right now, it's defense, and he seems to be refocused on that. All right, let's take a break, and let's talk about the trade deadline. Some updated expectations for the Nuggets, as well as why I think what happens to other teams is just as interesting as to what will happen for the Nuggets.
Is it because they have to play the Nuggets?
Don't spoil it.
Oh, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Guys, Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right products for your needs, quick and professional installations, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today, the best floors in the world. They're the best in the business.
The top floors.
You can't beat them
top
on
floor.
quality service and speed. Those are the three things they do best. Their philosophy, they're going to help you find what you need. So if you're looking at putting new floors in your house, in your business, they'll work with you. They'll make that process so much easier than it would be with other companies. They'll walk you through it all. They'll be there step by step from start to finish. Go to empiretoday.com/DNVR for details. You can get $350 off when you use promo code DNVR. You can do that at empiretoday.com/DNVR. Home, business, office, whatever you need. Empire Today, they've got you covered for floors. They're the best in the business. Check them out.
Yeah, dude. Empire Today, where the ceiling is the floor.
Speaking of floors, have you guys seen what it looks like inside Circa Resort and Casino? I know you haven't if you're a child, because you're not allowed in.
Beat it.
Beat it. It's the only 21 and up resort and casino in Vegas. That might sound like a weird detail. It's actually pretty sweet. First of all, last thing I want to see in Vegas, children, just me. Second of all, once you get inside, you'd be surprised how much time is saved at the bar and going places because no one's checking IDs. Everyone knows if you're there. You're old enough to enjoy all that Circa has to offer, like their largest sports book in the world, a 3-story stadium-style sports book with ton of VIP seating, the Dugout Club, the Legends Club, the Champions Club, and more. The casino's awesome. Stadium Swim is one of the best places to watch not one, not two, but multiple sporting events at the same time. Watch your bets unfold from a pool in front of a giant TV. That's how I like to live, and that's why when I go to Vegas, I live at Circa Sports. Download the Circa Sports app. By the way, if you want to do a little betting, you can. Circa Sports bets can only be made while physically located in the state of Colorado. Have to be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org.
Yeah, you know, this is the only place that you can really take advantage of my favorite way to watch sports. Wet.
Pause.
What?
In the sports book, that is a
we're in the
swimming
pool.
pool.
Yeah, dude.
It actually is cool though, man.
I've never-
Were we there for the fight? Remember we were there for the
Yes.
summer and there was the fight. Like it's
Dude,
actually really cool.
I've never watched one Nuggets game wet.
You haven't?
My biggest regret in life.
Once a show.
Say something really weird. Very strange. Very, very strange. All right, guys. The trade deadline is on Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and say that my expectation is that it'll probably be a mild one. Michael Malone, after the game, of course, we talked about on the show, he was emphatic in his, like, I like our team. I don't know if we need anything. A lot of teams need to make a move. Not us. We're good. And it was very emphatic from
He's
him.
like, do not bring in another backup center, please.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's the one thing that I would actually be really shocked if Denver did. I would be shocked if Denver went out and got a center.
They definitely won't.
I just don't think that it's going to happen a fourth year in a row. I think that they are done. And also, last night, in a lot of ways, it's funny that it happened as the last game before the deadline. It did, to me, it was just perfect proof of, oh yeah, the issues are not playoff issues. These are regular season issues.
Exactly.
The regular season's almost over. And Aaron Gordon is actually the best backup center in all of the NBA.
Right.
So they already have that.
Also, DeAndre Jordan, if he's just playing 5 minutes in the first half, is okay.
Statistically, false.
Well,
Have you seen some of the
I don't
numbers
care
of
about
his-
your nerdy
See-
stats.
I'm just saying, when he plays, because here's what's funny. This is actually Denver, as Michael Malone brought this up yesterday, atrocious defensively in the second quarter.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah, and so there's something in him in particular. Like Zeke is the only player worse than him defensively in second quarters is Zeke Naji.
By the way, so naturally in that game, the Nuggets gave up 37 points in the first quarter, then clamped up a bit.
It was
in the
so
second.
funny.
Yeah,
It was so
guess
predictable.
who was out there in the second quarter?
Well, there it is.
There you go.
We solved our problem.
See, but my thing is like, again, I mean, I understand. Everyone is telling me to shut up. Most of the Nuggets, I get it. But I'm just.
Who are you?
Yeah. When bringing up a backup five, because it's just, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Except
You're just
for that,
sick of it.
I just don't want to put extra wear on Aaron Gordon. And
I don't
Nikola
think he
Jokic.
should play I don't think he should play a lot of minutes that way. I'm with you on that.
That's like
Well, they've already played him way more minutes there this year than they did all of last season.
They already have the right answer
Regular
for
season.
what they need to do in the playoffs. Like, they're not trying to solve that. We're just trying to get there.
I honestly don't think that they're going to go to it very often. I think last night you have 4 days off, very unique schedule. You had 4 days off before your next game. And I think Malone looked at that and was like, we can afford it because he's going to fully rest before the next game. They did it in the Boston game. They've done it in key big games. But I just think down the stretch, you might see that lineup 2 or 3 more times total. Just because I think Malone probably believes the same way you do. Here's the other thing about it. Like, I love the Knicks. I think the Knicks are a good team when they're healthy. You know one reason why the Knicks are so good? They play 40 minutes a night.
Yeah.
If the Nuggets starters played 40 or 37 minutes a night, 38, they'd probably have 2 or 3 extra wins. They might have 1 or 2 fewer players as the Knicks currently have.
I love that Tom Thibodeau has not learned one lesson in the NBA.
Do you remember the game? It's because him and Malone are the same guy, by the way. Do you remember the game when they kept the starters in up like 25, and he's like, I've been part of games where worse has happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you haven't. Like, come on, man.
Like, that has not happened in the NBA.
It's never happened. But that's how those guys think. They're so concerned about the worst case scenario that they'll do any
What
measure
about the
to
worst
prevent
case
it.
scenario where you run your players into the ground and they become
You're thinking about all those other Tibbs teams. You're not thinking of this one.
That wasn't
This
the
team's
Knicks.
built
That was the
different,
Bulls.
Yeah. Nonetheless, my point is, I think Malone probably knows that he could win a lot of games down the stretch if he played Aaron Gordon at center every single night, but he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
He'll pick his spots, and there probably won't be that many. And so to that point, I don't think Denver will do that. I do think that they could look
won't.
to bolster shooting, and I think that one is one that could maybe alleviate some of the same pressure off of the bench as, hey, just give them an extra guy. But outside of that, I just don't think it's going to be a name. Yesterday, Miroslav did a very good job, or not yesterday, Saturday, he did a very good job of presenting some very realistic trades. It was like Trendon Watford.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Just
That's what I'm
kidding.
saying is it's a bunch of guys
I know
that you're
who
like,
Trendon
oh, I
Watford
guess
is.
they could add him. Yeah, maybe. But I think it's going to be a Devin Harris kind of trade deadline where maybe Denver adds a Devin Harris caliber player.
They already have Justin Holiday.
Yeah.
That's a guy.
The fireman.
But maybe as more of a guard spot or something that allows you to.
What's the point?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
It's just like that feels like we're doing it just because it feels like we're supposed to.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Like, I don't think the Nuggets need a trade. Like, that's my stance. I don't think they need to do anything. I think they have the team to win it right now. But as you approach the trade deadline, you almost try to talk yourself into things because it's just what happens at the trade deadline. Trades get made. Like, oh man, what if we had another ball handler?
Right,
Like,
right.
They have, like, they're fine.
Well, and we also don't know fully what Cal is like, and this will be another revealing one. Like,
Yep.
we don't, like, Tim Conley, I think, defaulted to not doing this type of stuff, but maybe Cal defaults to doing it. Like, that's another piece of this. Malone, by the way, also, when he was talking about not having a need for a trade, and he mentioned Justin Holiday, I think Malone loves his veterans. I think he loved them last year with Jeff Green and Ish Smith, and I think he loves them this year with Holiday and DeAndre and Reggie. I think he likes them even if they don't play. I just think he thinks that's the right collection of players to go into this playoffs with for this group of guys.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about point guards. There's been some rumors out there. I hope the Nuggets are sticking with Reggie Jackson.
Why? I'm a little surprised because I've talked about I would not mind moving Reggie Jackson, and I'm surprised at how much Nuggets fans push back on that one. That's a very unpopular
Well, I
take.
think Nuggets fans have kind of fallen in love with Reggie Jackson.
So it's more just liking him than it is thinking that it's
I want to win another championship with Reggie Jackson.
I think that's fair.
Like, I loved how he came into this team last year. I loved how over the summer he, like, bought in. I loved how he's had a bit of a resurgence this year, and he's just really become a part of this team. And I want to win it with another Colorado guy.
Yeah, and I don't. It's like I don't really. It's hard for me to imagine them making a move that would be like meaningfully more impactful than what you're getting from Reggie Jackson.
Because like the name is like DeLon Wright,
Exactly.
who's been a Nuggets Twitter favorite for 2 years. It seems
And he's
right
just
now.
like the opposite of Reggie
Yeah, he
Jackson.
really
he's
is.
a defensive
Yep.
setup guy. you
Right.
know. Reggie Jackson's a scorer.
Right. So, It is kind of interesting. And then if you don't lose Reggie, but you bring that in, like if you got DeLon Wright for 2 seconds, or for Hunter Tyson or some other guy like that, does it make things weird? All of a sudden, it's DeLon Wright. It's actually the better plays to play him.
Well,
or
I think Reggie Jackson has to be in the trade. That's the whole thing.
To make it work or something. Yeah. But I am more interested now, as I mentioned. I'm more interested in what other teams do, because a team that keeps popping up in trade rumors is the Utah Jazz. And I'm going to start here. There's more interesting teams. Utah's good.
Thank God.
Well, no, but Utah's good. They're 25-26. They have been on a roll. They got hot there for a while in January. And they're a team that we've just kind of counted as like there's no way they're actually making the playoffs. Now, I think they have a really good chance. And they've been rumored to be in the mix for like DeJounte Murray. Maybe
So
even like
weird.
an Alex Caruso. I'm with you, but they're a team that could add a player without losing too much of their future if they feel it's the right player that's available to them. And I just look at that and I go, that changes the West, not necessarily because I'm worried about them beating Denver, but it is possible that they beat the Lakers. It is possible that they beat Dallas if they end up adding an actual caliber player. Is that meaningful to you? Like Utah's not been on our radar, but they might actually impact who gets in.
It's not meaningful to me because I still think they're probably whatever they would do sometime and some moves away from really putting any dent into anything. DeJounte Murray is super talented and he's hit some big clutch shots this year.
He's a loser, man.
I still think you'd have to teach a guy how to win again.
Yeah.
Going from the Spurs
Why
to the
would
Hawks.
you want DeJounte Murray?
So I think the Jazz can get better. I just don't know if I'm in a rush to cash in assets to get DeJounte Murray, so my prize can be getting smoked by the Thunder in the first, or the Nuggets, or the Wolves, or whoever.
Yeah.
So, but I also don't want to do the thing where like none of the middle moves matter because we're just looking at the title team, because they do, right? And like their future success could very well depend on what they do right now. So I get looking at them. It just doesn't move me too much.
But it's interesting, don't you think, that Lakers right now are the 9 seed. Dallas and the Lakers. So if you were looking at Denver being a 1 or a 2 seed, the odds of them playing one of those two teams is high. Utah knocks one of them out. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, don't forget who is in charge of the moves in Utah. It's Danny Ainge. So it feels like if he made moves, it'd be just stockpile more picks. That's all he does. It's all he does is stockpile picks, and then he never, ever converts them into actual players. So they have a million picks. They'll make a trade. They'll get more picks, and then they'll be like, oh, man, right on the horizon, and then he'll never do it.
All right.
He never once did it in Boston.
What about this one? Dallas is such a fascinating team to me because
they need to fire their GM stat, man.
Dallas.
He's ruining this team. He's ruining Luka.
So they might just make another move. Well, you saw the latest rumor is Grant Williams and Bobby Portis.
Yeah, that's going to do it.
Which is wild to me. First of all, it's wild that Grant Williams was their big summer signing, and he's actually
terrible.
Worked out to be terrible. But then Bobby Portis might not be. I love Bobby Portis. I'm actually a Bobby Portis guy, but he might not be
He's fine.
good.
I mean, he's old.
He's a nice backup on a good team.
I would take him as the backup 5.
I actually would too.
For sure. No,
I would too.
Absolutely no hesitation. But what are we talking about?
I don't think. I mean, that swap like that gives you plus minus 0 wins.
All right, here's where I'll go with this then. Here's where I'll actually go before we go to our break. Miles Bridges is the guy that's out there, and I know it's weird because of obviously he has the abuse hanging over his head and all that baggage that he'll be bringing. But he's been rumored to go to Phoenix. The only reason Phoenix wouldn't do this deal is because it feels morally and ethically wrong, which I think it probably is.
Right.
But you know what? At the end of the day, teams are going to do what's going to give them a marginal better improvement. Miles Bridges is the one guy that I look at. I look at Dallas, I look at Phoenix, and I go, he would make both of those teams meaningfully better in ways that would be like, man, right now I don't fear Phoenix. If they had a Miles Bridges, I would look at that and go, that's a lot of guys to match up with.
I agree. That move actually terrifies me. He is like vastly underrated for reasons that have nothing to do with basketball. And Phoenix
he's been playing in Charlotte.
And Phoenix has no qualms about being an absolute villain squad. They don't care at all. They've already assembled the most loathsome collection of players. Like
this is such a Phoenix move. He's definitely going there.
They're definitely. They're the anti-hero basketball club. It's like it's Grayson Allen. It's like all these guys, just these loathsome characters that you put together, and it's the Legion of Doom, and it doesn't matter. They don't care. Matt Ishbia does not care about that side of this, and in a lot of ways, like you shouldn't.
They've got Nurkic.
Dude, you know what Dallas should do? Dallas needs to
Trade for Kyrie.
trade for Kyrie. They need to focus so heavily on making a 2-man pick and roll combination with Luka Doncic.
They have it. Lively's really good. I think it's one of the top.
They should get Cat.
Lively might be better at pick and roll play with him.
They should get Cat. I'm saying that's who they should focus on. That would actually work in the grossest way. It's gross. Listen, but they keep making moves that don't actually bolster what their strength is.
Yeah. The Lively Doncic pick and roll has been really good this year. I mean, Lively is, I think he's leading the NBA in field goal percentage. He's a super athlete. He's just young. And so maybe he's going to take a year or two to really get there, but he's a really good player. All right, let's take a break. There's more of these teams. The Clippers are rumored to be in. Dorian Finney-Smith is a name that I look at and I think, man, he's not an exciting guy, but could he swing some things? And then the biggest one to me, the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll talk about them on the other side because they're a team that I think would be scary with one trade.
Guys, Natures of Colorado. There are 4 locations in Colorado. Log Lane Village, Garden City, Sedgwick, Milliken as well. Natures of Colorado is the go-to northeastern Colorado dispensary. Remember, you can save time by ordering ahead online, naturescolorado.com. Then stay cozy in your car and pick up at the drive-thru. That's a huge feature of Natures of Colorado. Drive-thru at every location. Makes the experience so much better. They got awesome deals going on right now. You can use code DNVR to take advantage of all of them. $99 ounces every day. You can use the code DNVR to get a full ounce or any shelf for $85 an ounce. Exquisite extracts, 2 grams bucket for $15. Remember to use code DNVR online or mention DNVR in stores.
Dude, imagine
How neat is that?
Dude, imagine you doing a transaction for cannabis in a car that doesn't mean sitting next to a guy in a wife beater.
What?
A guy named Juicy comes out of the woods,
Yeah,
drops
dude.
loose in your hand. You're like, no bag, no cup, nothing. Just kidding.
A
I've never
guy
done
with
this.
one
I've
name
never
that's
done this.
Snake.
Yeah, that was a really
Just kidding.
a lot of insight there.
Yeah,
into
only
that
do
one.
it legally and with our great sponsors.
All right, Snake, do I have to get into your car? All right.
All right, yeah. and no, you can't have a ride. What? All right.
Let's go to the drive-thru of Nature's.
It's a lot easier to do it these days, and it's really easy to get some delicious and innovative beers in your life with our friends at Breckenridge Brewery. If you're fans of DNVR, you know these are our homies. Beer of the month right now is Avalanche Amber Ale. I think it's always the beer of the month, to be honest, because it's really good. I also think it's the first Breck brew I noticed in the wild. Before I felt connected to Denver, I just saw that one out and about. But now there's the Mile High City Nuggets beer, the Broncos Country Pale Ale, the Funslinger, the Good Company Hard Seltzers. So many good things you can try and enjoy. You can do it here at the DNVR bar on the corner of York and Colfax. Or you can enjoy it in your house. Check out the Breck Beer Locator. It'll tell you where to go to buy what you were looking for from our great friends at Breck.
Alrighty, we are back here and we're talking about some of the other teams that can make moves. The Clippers have an abundance of riches. Do you know the name that they've been connected to? PJ Washington somehow? Like some of these teams that are like falling off, like Charlotte, maybe just selling off pieces. PJ Washington's good. And they somehow, I don't understand how they continue to have the ability to sign some of these named guys because they have so many guys on their roster already. But the Clippers are a team to me that I actually don't think should or needs to make a move. But they're also a team that has the assets and the ability to make a move and add another person. Does that do anything? Also, by the way, they have Bones. They can. Bones going to
seems
Charlotte.
like they're definitely trading
man.
Bones. I mean,
Bones going to Charlotte. That's the worst.
I mean, is it the worst?
I think
he gets
he'd
playing
like it.
time.
Close to
I'm
his
just, what's the
hometown.
last
Close to his
time we ever
hometown.
hear from him?
Well, I mean, the last time we've ever heard from him is when he went to L.A.
Yeah, that private jet.
Yeah. No, I mean, that'd be a solid move for the Clippers for sure. I think right now they're the toughest matchup in the West for the Nuggets. They're the team right now that I fear the most in a playoff series. PJ Washington, he's a 20, 25-minute per game guy in the playoffs. Like, that's a guy you can plug into your rotation off the bench, 3, 4. He can give you good minutes. He can like match up against a guy like Aaron Gordon. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a move that's a little scary.
What's particularly scary about him, he is great not only as a pick and roll man where he can get it on the short roll and distribute, hit the jumper, or take a dribble and finish. He's really good at that. He's also good as a pick and roll ball handler.
Yeah.
So
He's versatile.
He's versatile in a way that you could, like, if you think about the Clippers, the reason people have confidence if you're a Nuggets fan against them is they don't do the things that Denver is bad at. But I think they, one, have more pick and roll game than they've ever had, thanks to Harden and real centers. And two, if you added a player like that, they could tailor their offense specifically to a Denver and say, all right, we're going to start everything with these type of pick and rolls. And I would actually be afraid of that. I think it would be scary.
Dude, I completely agree. That's the one team I don't want to get any better. I agree with you. I'm perplexed at how they could possibly have any capital or assets left, but I think that getting an actual point guard, which for all the baggage James Harden brings, is very, very, very good point guard and has changed that dynamic. So I don't want them getting any better. I think that's a name that would help them with the floor and even just the ceiling in terms of regular season, especially if guys need to take nights off. I mean, he just scored 40-plus points not that long ago. So the guy that can fill it up, the guy that can do some of the floor stuff in the playoffs, I don't want to see that happen.
Tim Conley's Timberwolves have been connected to both Monte Morris and Bones Highland.
Surprise, surprise.
Classic Tim Conley move, going out and getting his guys if you were to do it.
Going through the old contacts.
But
see who's still in there.
I can't believe Tyler Lydon's not available.
But in all sincerity, I think both of those guys fill a name, and they need a backup point guard. And I think both of those guys would be guys that I would look at and say, yeah, that makes them a little bit more difficult in the playoffs. Bones would obviously make them more volatile, where you're like, I don't know if their culture already, we saw them hit a shaky patch mid-January. But nonetheless, I look at that one and I go, I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm a little less scared about those moves, I think. Just because, I mean, Monte Morris, Bones Highland in a playoff series, I don't think those are needle movers compared to PJ Washington. I just don't.
What do you think, Eric? Minnesota's already tough. It's not like they're not a good team.
Well, Monte Morris has not played
he's been playing
really at all this year. I mean, he has recently, but I can't imagine he's back to true Monte Morris form. You know, I mean, those are both good players, though, obviously. Like, they're Bones Highland, we've seen, like, when he is at his zenith, he really can shoot the piss out of the ball.
Thank you.
Shouts Dev.
Kids watch this show.
Yeah, shouts Dev. So, I don't like any of these teams getting better, and that would make them better. And you'd have to give up so very little to get either one of those players, which makes me wish that Denver would do it, except for Bones Highland can't do it. But I still am a believer in him. And I know that if given the right opportunity, he would an opportunity where he would be able to just play freely and play with joy. He could bring both and could, but I don't know. I don't even know if that's Minnesota. You know, I don't know. I would trust Monte Morris more because we know he's more of a professional. But you know, Bones has the juice a little bit. Got the juice.
Yeah.
Monte in Minnesota would just make that matchup all the more loaded. Like, I don't know if you want to say rivalry. I don't know if it's bitter, right? But just between Tim going there, immediately looking at and signing some guys, and then Monte going there, I just think it would add another layer to. We've appreciated, I think, on some level what the Wolves are doing. We don't want them to get better than the Denver Nuggets, and you want to win that matchup every time. And if Monte's there, I think that's even amplified, you know? Maybe there's something fun to that, though. You know, the Wolves and the Nuggets having a little juice in division rivalry, or just rivalry might be too. It's just loaded. It's layered, right, for the fan bases. So, look, Monte's a good player, man, and I think he's a guy who's too good at team basketball to play in a place like Detroit. That depresses me on his behalf,
right?
And so, you know, I think it'd be cool for him to be in a good situation.
Is there anything the Lakers can do that would make you fear them?
If they could find a way to get Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, that ain't happening. The Cavs are too good.
Yeah.
The Cavs are in the worst spot to be in the NBA. They're too good to fire sale and protect themselves, but they're going to lose Donovan Mitchell almost certainly now in the offseason, and they're probably going to get, like, upset in the first round.
They probably should fire their coach, but they're having a good year.
Dude, they're 31-16, and they're 9-1. They're the hottest team in basketball. They're playing great, and Donovan Mitchell has been phenomenal. I actually feel for them. I think they're in the worst spot. It sucks to, like, have a player just free agency hanging over your head, and you're like, well, and it would be so weird to be a 3 seed right now. They're only a game behind Milwaukee for the 2 seed, and it would suck to sell your team and be like, yeah, we can't go to free agency without a protection.
Yeah, that is rough.
Yeah, but
So they're not getting Donovan Mitchell.
yeah, no, I don't think so. Then the Lakers getting Bruce Brown, I don't think that moves the needle. I don't think he's a good fit there at all.
I could see Bruce Brown pulling an Andre Iguodala in a series, a Nuggets-Lakers series, and being
Yeah.
like, I hate my team.
Yes.
Hey, guys, here's what they're going to
Yep.
do.
Yeah, dude, he gives us the mole
Wait,
info.
why is he at the stock show with DeAndre Jordan?
But we don't call him the mole. We call him the
hero?
The hero,
Yeah.
right?
Right, he's actually pretty sick.
Why is he the golf course is this team's version of the chapel from those years?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Why is he golfing with
Dude,
DJ?
the Lakers have hitched their wagon to a sinking. Like they have all of their resources tied into players that are too old to make it happen. They just can't. They're sunk. They cannot do it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
They can win the in-season tournament, and that is the end.
I'm actually very curious to see what morale is like for them if they don't pull off a big move, even if they pull off a medium move, whatever. I'm just curious to like LeBron has been his most passive aggressive. He's doing all this
Do
stuff.
we think LeBron just quits?
No,
You don't think he just quits the team?
no.
He could definitely be like,
No.
my hammy, like he's, you know.
Oh yeah, he could do that.
That's
Although,
a-
except for the number, he needs the numbers to keep going up. Like,
No, I mean his
got a
numbers
set
are
record.
good. He set all the records.
I kind of hope he just quits on the Lakers.
Me too, but like he would be a
a hamstring. You're right. Soft tissue injury, a little
totally.
back tightness.
And he announces it with an emoji.
Totally. No, he announces it the deleted scenes for Space Jam.
And then he contemplates retirement again.
All right, let's take our last break. On the other side, we have to get to the Thunder, who are the Thunder and the Kings, two teams, but Thunder in particular, who are most capable, though not necessarily most likely, of making themselves super frightening. And then also, is there any chance Jimmy Butler gets traded this week? I think there is.
Wow.
We'll talk about that on the other side.
Hey, stay tuned.
FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise. They got a lot of cool stuff at FOCO. They've got awesome toys, collectibles, apparel, accessories, bobbleheads. If you're looking to deck out your office, check out FOCO. They got a lot of cool stuff. They're officially licensed with all leagues too, so they can use
Our
name,
Jokic
image,
Serbia one
likeness.
came in. Did you see this?
Of all these athletes?
What came in?
Our Jokic Serbia one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where's it at?
I see a Broncos one right there.
If I find it in the back of Kale's car, I'm gonna.
Who is number 56 on the Broncos?
I think it's Al Wilson.
That's Al Wilson.
I don't know. No, is that Shane Ray? I think it's Shane Ray.
You can get a Shane Ray bobblehead.
Yeah.
Maybe. FOCO always has our back for Colorado sports. They have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in our description.
I'm checking Nick's office.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. For all non-presale items, use the
Boundary
promo code
issues.
DNVR for 10% off. DNVR 10% off everything non-presale at FOCO.
Use FOCO to decorate your man or woman cave. Use Fubo TV to watch your favorite Colorado sports from said cave. 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. Stream live TV from any device. No contract, no cable, no hassle. And yeah, here's the real pitch. Watch the most Colorado sports for the lowest price. How do I watch my favorite teams, you might be wondering? There is an answer. Fubo TV, most Colorado sports, the lowest price. And we've got a deal. Watch your favorite college football and the NFL and your Colorado sports teams with Fubo. Go to www.fubotv.com/DNVR, www.fubotv.com/DNVR. Sign up, get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
So the Miami Heat are like the Lakers of the East in that they seem to always have this weird drama around them.
Team of the past.
The team, well, kind of. Although their past was more recent than the Lakers' past.
Well, they just made the finals.
They're the 8th seed. The vibe has been a little off with them. They made the Rozier trade, but if you know, Jimmy Butler is up for extension. He can leave this summer, and yet nothing's been offered. There's no agreement there. And I've heard some rumblings about, hey, man, Miami might be looking at them. So I know last year they were a low seed and they go all the way, but they might look at themselves and go like, the vibe's off. We have Jimmy. Same situation with Donovan Mitchell, only they're not a 3 seed. And I wouldn't be surprised if they looked around and said, you know what? Jimmy could totally swing this. What if Jimmy went to the Knicks, played for Thibodeau? That would be an incredible team. Like you add him there. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Butler, we talk about there's always one surprise name that gets traded at the deadline.
Yeah.
He's the one guy I look at and go, wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, I just hope he stays in the East because that's about the last guy I want to see in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler.
He worked out right last time.
Well, I mean, he did lead that team all the way to the finals somehow.
Yeah, but when we saw him in the playoffs, it's fine.
Right.
I actually think Denver would always get Jimmy Butler like that. I think he's a guy that Denver will make look like Jimmy Butler, not like Michael Jordan.
If Jimmy Butler moves to a powerhouse in the East, if he moved to the Knicks, that would be a massive shift.
They have the assets to do it.
That would be massive.
It cost you a Julius Randle, but part of me looks at that and goes, I don't know, man. I kind of like. I don't like Julius Randle.
You gotta think though, the Heat's MO is like, we've always got a chance.
Yeah.
And if you trade Jimmy Butler, you're kind of going away from like your staple of always having a fighter's chance.
You're basically being cowards, is what Wynn's trying to say, and that's just not the Heat way.
You don't think you could talk yourself into, say, a Julius Randle and be like, but we got a new guy. We're going to turn him.
No. Julius Randle?
He's an all-star.
In the East?
They're in the East.
They give him a conditioning test, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to do
Randle,
this.
man.
DeMar DeRozan, another guy that maybe goes to a team and helps out an already contending
I've
team.
seen him as a potential Lakers target as well.
I mean, he would make them better.
Yeah, he might make them better.
Yeah, they'd probably lose in 5
The
to
last
Nuggets.
team to talk about, and I don't think they're going to do anything, and I actually hate that all of the type of basketball fans that hang out on Twitter and on message boards and stuff, which I love these people, but I'm saying my least favorite take is people that look at an Oklahoma City Thunder team, which, by the way, do you know where they are in the standings right now? Number 1 in the Western Conference. 8-2 in their last 10. It's very clear to me that Josh Giddey does not belong on that team, and to me at least. They have a lot of they have a million
Go to the
picks.
Suns.
What's it? They have a million picks. They have all this stuff, and I look at them and I go, I get the idea of slow playing, but we have so many examples of a team in this exact spot who thinks they have an 8-year window, and it turns out that first one was actually the best one because stuff happens. And I look at this team and I go, I don't think they can win a title. I think they're a good story. But they have the assets to actually get a major piece. Not a little one, a major piece if they wanted. And yes, you never want to empty the cupboard, but their cupboard is so full they can empty it a little. So they're the one team that I look at that I don't think will make a move. But right now, I just don't fear Oklahoma City. I respect them. I don't fear them. But they could make a move, even a move just to get a center.
Who's a player that they could get and you'd be like, wow, they actually could win it now?
To me, it's probably more big because at the moment I look at them and I go, they're just too small. They probably need, and maybe that's a smaller move. Maybe that's not a move that requires a whole lot of your cupboard, but you're going out to get a guy that just is a big body that they can
Claxton or something.
Yeah, maybe it's. I mean, Claxton's not really the guy that's going to.
I mean, he's not going to win a title, but
see, I actually think differently. I agree that I don't think the Thunder are like in the tier 1 of championship contenders this season. They've got to find out what the playoffs are like with this current group, I think, before actually getting serious about winning a championship.
Why do you need to see that for Giddey, though? What do you think is going to be different in a playoff?
Well, I mean, trade Giddey, sure, but like that's not the all-in move that I think some people are wanting them to.
It's Giddey and a pick because, like, if you want to get something of value, you have to maybe attach.
Dude,
the
if they got Bruce Brown, I would be freaked out.
I wouldn't.
Bruce
man.
Brown is good in the areas they're already good, I think.
The Thunder, if I
more.
was Sam Presti, I would actually not really do anything major. I would go into the playoffs with this group, see how it looks, and assess from there. Take the data from this playoff series if they win a round and see, okay, we got to the playoffs with this group. We were tested. Now I know what we need. I don't think you can make a big move without really knowing what this team looks like in the playoffs yet.
Like, I don't know if he's available. A guy like Jakob Poeltl to me is the type of guy there because you can play him or not. He's good. He's a really good defender. And if you go up against a Jokic, I just think this is why I don't fear them. Is I'm like, yeah, if Jokic has it easy, then it's easy for the Nuggets. But if you gave him a Jakob Poeltl, now it's like, all right, Jakob Poeltl on his own, Jokic's going to murder him. But Jakob Poeltl with Chet behind him, all right, now you have what the Timberwolves have, which is tough. And then we already know they're great at these other spots. And that's why I just look at the Timberwolves and I go, they can win it this year if they were so choose. We think they can win it 3 years from now, but so many teams think they can win it 3 years from now, and it never happens.
The Timberwolves are in a way different spot than the Thunder, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves are ahead of the Thunder in terms of knowing like who they are,
of course,
and knowing what they need to do in the playoffs and stuff. And so, like, I really think like the Thunder should go into the playoffs with this team and just see what they have and go from there. That's what I would do.
I just think that we have. First of all, Chet's been in the league for 2 years. One of them he missed the entire year.
Okay.
I'm just saying, everybody always thinks that this is like, oh man, they're going to be great for the next 10 years. And I just look at it and I go, I don't know, man. Everybody thinks that, but it doesn't always work out that way. And sometimes it really is about, and this isn't even like, I understand if you were saying like, trade Jalen Williams, use up 4 picks to go get so-and-so. I'm just saying there's a move they could get a center that would make me look and go, that's tough. Even Kevon Looney, who's not like a great, he's a good defender. If they had him, I would at least go, okay, they have a body to match up with Yoke. Right now, they don't.
Yeah.
Is that not, I mean, you still disagree? Even a Kevon Looney type who wouldn't cost the bank, he would just cost one of your 15 picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
To me, that's why I say I don't think Oklahoma City makes any of these moves. And I think that they are thinking the same way you are, which is, let's just get through this year and see. And my point is, why? Your team is so good. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can trade a little bit here and still be in good position to pivot.
Yeah, they should just add veteran
bigs.
Or just vets in general, battle-tested people that have been through it before. And because, these guys are wholly untested. We don't know what it looks like when the pressure is completely turned up.
Wendell Carter Jr., also on the block. What if they added him? Does it make it more difficult for Denver?
What's his contract?
I think he's in the last year of a deal, so it's like an expiring deal.
Look it up right now. I mean, yes, that would make them better.
It'd make them better. I don't know if it'd be worth it.
I just think, again, they don't have a guy to put on Yoke, and I think when they get into the playoffs, they're going to realize that.
Unless you get Jock Landfill.
That might be a little bit below. Do we have any super chats, Cal?
One.
Oh!
Nadine Marcus, is buying out Zeke's contract a good idea?
I don't know how you can buy it out fully.
You can't.
I don't think that's an option.
It's not.
So no, I don't think that's something.
It is a good idea, though. Just to be clear,
can you totally get rid of it,
dude? How would you sign Calvin Booth if you signed him 4 months ago and bought it out
just writing him a check for $40 million?
By the way, Wendell Carter is under contract for this year and the next season as well.
At what price?
Next year it's 10.8.
They have that to spend. So for me, and Wendell Carter's a good player. And the other thing about Wendell is, like he does with the Magic, he's good enough to play and not good enough that you can't not play him. So they can go into a Sun series and say we don't need you, and then go into a Nugget series and say we need you 35 minutes.
Or they should go and get Andre Drummond like everybody wants.
Andre Drummond to me though is more concerning in a like Wendell can do a job. Andre Drummond is feast or famine.
Yeah,
like Yoke would, I don't know.
Yoke could feast.
Yeah, Yoke would definitely feast.
And then Chet looks like he's been through famine.
Do you guys hope we get fireworks? I kind of hope that we get like a crazy Knicks trade.
Oh, I'm always hoping we get fireworks.
We're hoping.
I just don't want the Nuggets to make a trade.
I think if I'm a team in the East like the Knicks, the Embiid injury, unfortunate for him, but opportunity for them. I'm looking at the East right now going, do I know for sure Boston's different? They're better. Do I know for sure it's going to be that different? Are they beatable? Because they lost the 8 seed last year, and the Heat don't look very good, and the Bucks have problems, and the Sixers are probably done. If I'm the Knicks and if there's a winner, a real proven winner I can add to my team, like a Jimmy Butler, I'm doing it.
So Zeke Naji won a high school championship in Minnesota. Then he won a Pac-12 championship at Arizona.
Drafted by Tim Connolly.
Are you saying send him to Arizona?
No, he's a winner.
Oh, there you go. We're packaging it up. All right, guys, hit that outro music, Kale. That does it for our show today. The trade deadline, I'm very curious to see which way it breaks, man. Very, very curious. The 76ers piece of this, I do feel complicates things because I do think they were a team that probably got involved, and now I don't know that they do. I think it'd be crazy for them to. By the way, also a potential Jimmy Butler destination next year, which would be very interesting if he were to go back to Philly.
Why? Okay.
They have a max, spot for.
I know, but like, that's you getting back together with your ex. How often does that work?
It never works.
Doesn't work for them, but it might work for us. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hit that like button. Tomorrow, P-Watt, right here in studio. Looking forward to it. We'll see you.
We all silly like the mayor.